This podcast is brought to you by C, Pawn, and Gun. These guys are super cool. I love hanging out with them. I've gone in there a couple of times. He is a huge supporter of mine. He's a good friend, and he loves to talk. So anytime you go in there, be ready to talk to those guys, and he loves his weapons. So if you like guns and things, that is the place for you, and go hang out with those guys, and they will talk to you all day about them. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring this podcast. Let's get this thing started. Welcome to another Paris, Texas, a podcast. This is a podcast where you get to listen to people's stories, people that have either influenced or lived in the city of Paris, Texas. I love hearing their stories, and I can't wait for you to hear the next guest. All right, guys, this guest I have actually known for a really long time. We went to school together, so I know a lot about her, but there's a big chunk missing. So I'm excited to hear some of the things I don't know about her. Lauren Woodard, what's up?
Hey guys, how are you this morning, Broadway?
I am good. A busy day, but I love being busy, so that's my thing. It's my jam.
You know?
Yeah. So where are you from? Where were you born?
Born and raised Paris, Texas.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember, because we did go to school together, but you're a little bit older than me.
A little bit.
But we went to church together.
We did?
Maxie Baptist.
We did.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We did. I didn't know if you remembered. I told Sarah McCollum last night, I said, gosh, I wish that I could find one of those photos of like you, me, and Jessica Green, and Sarah, and Corey Dockery, and all of us. I wish I could find an old photo to bring.
Were you there when we did like the volleyball stuff?
Yeah, but I'm not an athlete, so I was probably just sitting on the side. Yeah.
I remember that group, man. That was a good group of people.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We would have sleepovers at your house.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom was always so fun.
She's the best.
Mm-hmm. All in the living room. Remember you had that big window seat in the living room? And we would call it, I'm sleeping on the window seat. Oh, yeah.
Fun.
See, I knew you didn't remember.
I blocked a lot of that period of my life
Call it a brownout.
Yeah. just not remember that stuff sometimes.
It's been a while.
It's been a minute. I mean, that was...
in the 90s.
Let's not talk about how long ago
I couldn't even drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's obviously the 70s. Back in Nam.
It still feels like so long ago.
I know.
All right, so did you go to North Mall the whole way through?
Oh, yeah. Kindergarten through. Barely graduated, but I made it.
You and me both.
Man, like, great grades.
Yeah.
Just didn't ever go to school.
Oh, that was... I just
Coach
struggled
Holt
with
and
the grades. I
spent
made
a lot
it
of
to
Saturdays
school.
together. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
A lot of Saturday school. I mean, and he'd be like, you just come to class.
So were you just not into it?
I just wasn't into it. I would rather skip school and go to work.
Right.
And make money.
Right.
You know, and I hate that.
Live by experiences?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it created like a sense of work ethic and, like you said, living by experience. And I would just be sitting in class so annoyed thinking, I'm sitting here making $0.
Yeah.
I'm done with my work. It's busy work. We sure didn't have cell phones back then. So it's like there are only so
pagers.
many.
That we're not going to talk about that, but that was our time frame.
Again, Nom. But I mean, there are only so many notes that you can write and only so many books you can read. And then I would think, God, I could be picking up a shift at the bank, or I could be waiting tables right now.
So for me to be like blunt, like I was lost. I didn't know who I was or what I wanted to do or what kind of person I wanted to be. And I really contribute to this, and people that listen to this podcast may already know this, but like I really contributed to my creativity. I think I was such a creative soul, and I didn't have a place to put that. So I was lost trying to figure that out, and it literally took me getting out of Paris. Not that it was Paris, just that it took me traveling and seeing different things to awaken that inside of me and figure out that that's who I'm meant to be. And then ever since I figured that out, I've never stopped being that. And when I'm not that, I'm miserable.
It's like structure is just too much for you. Maybe. I think that's not necessarily a Paris thing, because a lot of people will say only in Paris, Texas, or you got to get out of Paris. It's not Paris. It's just the town that you grew up in.
Yeah.
Because the people in Paris are going to try to put you in a box.
Yeah.
You are your mother's son, and I am my father's daughter, and this is what you're supposed to do. And you wait at tables all your life, so you're a waitress all your life. And it's just getting out and learning that you don't have to fit into that box, and you can be whatever you want to be, wherever you want to be it.
Right.
You still need to appreciate your roots.
If you've ever met my parents and ever been around my family, I am very far outside of the box. People don't know this, but I grew up on a farm. I
know.
Straight up farm. Like cows and...
Maxie, Sumner. Direct? Sumner.
Well, it's actually Globe, which is right on the other side of Sumner.
I know where Globe is. My mom lives in Globe
There's
now.
a big blue water tower, which I called growing up the blue M&M. I don't know why. It's just what I called it.
And still to this day do.
And I still do. My kids call it because my parents still live out there. So
do they still live in the same house?
No, they still own the same property, but they built a new house.
Oh, good for them.
But when we go see G-Mall, it's the big blue M&M.
Does your mom still have really long hair?
Yeah, longish.
I like that.
She lost a lot of it. She had a brain aneurysm, and they had to go in through the brain, so they cut a lot of it off. Yeah. This was a few years, but it's like... How old? 7 years ago. Yeah. So it's been my second child was born while she was in a coma.
Oh wow! So, yeah. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I did know that. Yeah. I just forgotten.
So they cut it all off then, and then she's kind of been different lengths ever since then. She's kind of played with it,
spicing it up.
She's
always had good hair though. Mm-hmm. On her head.
She's got that like
you on the face.
It's getting a little salt and pepper, but she's always had that like Italian looking long black.
Yes.
Like hair. Mm-hmm. I don't have any of that.
Thick.
If you've seen my
on
beard,
your face.
On my face. It's not black though. It's more of a, I don't know, like a. I'm trying to look at it right now.
I am looking at it right now.
It's not black.
And I would say it's close to black.
I don't know about that.
Well, it's similar to your mother's. So it's good and dark.
Okay. Well, I'll take that. All right, so that was a lot of high school. This is what happens when you go to high school or go to school with someone. All right, so coming out of school, like you were graduating, what was the plan? Did you have like...
Oh, gosh, I had huge plans.
What was it?
I was going to go to Texas A&M, and I was going to be a vet.
Ooh.
And I was going to be a large animal vet because, I don't know when you moved back to Paris, but it was like Bob Abels and Dr. Nottingham, and I remember back then they were saying we're getting too old to be fooling around with these big animals. And so I thought, well, that would be perfect for me because I'm not very detail oriented. Like if I'm going to paint a wall, I'll paint the biggest part and then somebody else can come back and do the trim because that's not for me. And so if somebody was like, listen, my iguana broke his leg, I'd be like, what? What am I going to do with a broken leg on an iguana? But if it was like a horse, okay, let's do it. I got it.
I got
the big picture.
Yeah.
So I moved. It was like the second semester, so it was January. And my parents, God love them, put me up in this swanky apartment and paid for everything, took over my bills and my car payment, and I had a cell phone back then. Of course, it was like a flip phone. And took over everything, and I started going to school at Blinn College in Bryan.
Okay.
And with the intention of transferring over to Texas A&M when I was, ready to be a vet. And then I realized to be a vet, you have to go to school for like 8 years.
No way.
I swear. Google it. And I was like, no, come on. If I'm going to school for 8 years, like I'm going to be
a doctor,
a brain surgeon,
heart surgeon.
I need to be some kind of surgeon.
Yeah.
Not
We're coming out making some money.
Yeah. And so then I was like, maybe this isn't for me. Again, like I could be making money, not sitting here bleeding my parents out cash.
I'm thinking more of the 4-year commitment kind of thing.
Not even that. And I didn't even I didn't even finish.
You didn't?
And so I moved back home to Paris and got a job at a bank and was totally fine with that because then I bought a house and bought a car and was fine. But it's like, I don't know. The long run wasn't really sticking with me. Like I can't imagine sitting. And even today with all of my and Chance's kids, I tell them, if you want to go to a trade school, if you want to do hair, if you want to be a welder, if you want to be a mechanic, I'm all for it. I'll support you while you're going to school and I'll put you through school. But like if you want to be a banker with a degree, just go get a job. Go be a teller.
Yeah.
Work your way up.
Work your way up.
Yeah.
I'm a huge, no, I'm not against school. I mean, if you want to do a trade that requires school and that's something you're passionate about, I'm a huge person that supports passion. Because I feel like I found my passion and then I had to work hard to get to where I'm at. But like I've gotten to the point to where I get to do my passion every single day.
Yeah.
And I'm so like, in some of those, sometimes your passion has a requirement. Sometimes, if you are really passionate about being a vet,
yeah,
and that's your thing, it takes 8 years of schooling to do that.
And I was obviously not that invested.
So, but sometimes, yes, I agree. There are people who they want to be a videographer, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go to videography school. Or, there are some trade schools out there for that, or they want to be a welder. You can go and get a training welding job or do a short class for welding and be a really good welder, and you can make really good money doing that.
Yeah.
So it's just finding that thing that makes you happy. There's too many people that are stuck in jobs miserable. And I feel like that there's, and some people they do want that clock in at 8 and clock out at 5, and that's all I want.
Yeah.
That is my passion. I want to be able to do that, and then have my nights and weekends to myself. I pick a profession that I have to work all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And that's part of it. And I love what I do. And because of that, I get to do what I love to do.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
Agreed.
I'm a passionate person.
Layla, she's 7 and she's dead set on being a teacher. And I'm like, okay. If that's your calling and if that's what God is telling you that you need to do, fine. I'll put you through college. But Lord, we got 10 years between now and then to figure that out.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I don't want.
She'll change her mind 100 times.
Yes. I don't want my kids to be like me and think, oh, I'll just go to college and figure it out and then graduate with a business degree and have nothing and not know what they want.
No direction.
Yeah. I would literally rather you take a backpack and hit the road and then come back and tell me what you want to do.
Well, and I'm not trying to call parents out. If I offend you, I am so sorry. But I feel like you get these parents sometimes who shoot down things. We're way off topic, but I love getting off topic.
That's just how it goes.
Shoot down things like, okay, you see these parents online who like hate that their kids are video gamers.
Yeah.
But there are video game programmers that make
a killing. And my kids watch them on YouTube.
Right? And there are kids and there's there's parents that hate the whole YouTube thing. And I get that you need to be strict with your YouTube and you need to watch what your kids are watching. That's just parenting. But there are kids on YouTube that currently make more money than both their parents combined by making videos about them playing video games.
Or videos of them opening Easter eggs.
Yes.
With things in them.
So, this coming from a parent who let my 7-year-old kid have a YouTube channel, and there's like 80 videos.
Yeah, we've watched his videos.
And we did that for a whole year. So, like, it's sometimes the parent supporting what the kid likes and is passionate about, even at 7 years old, to get them to the point to where they're getting to do their passion.
Yeah.
So for me, and I've always told my kids this, it doesn't matter if you're passionate about football or passionate about this. Even if it's not a passion thing I'm passionate about, I'll be there and I will video it.
Right.
Because that's what I do.
And a lot of times it's not like these parents whose kids play baseball and they act like they're going to lose a scholarship at 7 years old if they strike out. Here's the thing. Even if they're not going to be a professional baseball player, they are learning things.
Yes.
They're learning how to be a part of a team. They're learning how to be coachable.
Yes.
Because that whole thing that says uncoachable kids become unmanageable adults. And it's the truth. And so it's like Layla played volleyball with the Boys and Girls Club. And I'm not kidding. She did not get that ball over the net, not one time. But she had fun and she learned the skills of the game and she met new friends and she loved her coach and she had a good time. So I was there for it. But there were a lot of parents who would get so mad. Get that ball over the net. And I was like, girl, go do what you want to do. At least you're not at home driving me crazy right now.
Well, and strive to be good at what you're doing. It's not a like don't care about what you're doing. It's have fun and strive to be good. But if you don't get it over the net, then it's not the end of the world.
No, there are no scouts here.
There are no scouts here.
I mean, I'm not. It didn't cost me. It cost me $2 to get in this game.
Mama Scout's the only one you got. Yes. And trust me, you already won.
There are no. I mean, college recruiters are not here today.
Not today.
Not today. So sorry, I'm not that worried about it.
All right, so you're back home.
Yes.
And you're working at a bank. How long did you work at a bank?
Oh gosh, I worked at just about every bank in town.
Really?
Yes, I bank hopped. I worked at every bank, probably like 8 years of banking, and then moved to Dallas for a little while, and then came back. And what did I do? Oh, I worked for Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
For about 5 years. And in that time, met Chance, married him.
Yay.
And he had 3 little kids at the time.
Awesome.
And so then we went on to have 2 kids. But when I was pregnant with Lucy, the youngest, is when Allie started The Light Blonde.
Ooh.
And Allie and I were not friends in high school.
So it took me, sorry, 1 second. Yeah. It took me a minute to realize who Allie was.
I know. Her too. She was like, I don't know. I've never seen this guy. I've never met this guy before in my life. And I was like, Alexis. We went to school with him. I assure you, you know this gentleman. She was like, never seen him before in my life. And so then I went back and found old pictures of you and Kimmy on a mountain, and you had no beard.
Yep.
And she was like, oh, I totally know him. Yep. And I said, told ya. But then you did the same.
I did the exact same thing. So I was told by a couple people that we were close enough in age. Because she graduated between
she graduated
you and me?
2 years ahead of me.
Okay,
and you were like 2 years ahead of her. You graduated in 99.
2000.
Oh, I graduated in 03. She graduated in 01.
Okay, so but she was in high school with me.
Yes.
And so she's a year below me.
Yes.
And I now that I went back to a yearbook and looked at her picture, I'm like, oh. Now I know.
I know her.
And I don't know if it's her looks, and I'm terrible with names. I say I'll remember a face forever, but obviously
not.
I didn't.
But then again, brown out.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was crazy. And I remember seeing Light Blonde stuff. And what year was that when she started it?
She started it in 2013.
Okay. We came back to Paris 10 years ago. And so it had already been going for a while.
No, if you came back 10 years ago, that was 2009. But she didn't live here, of course.
She didn't. She's Fort Worth, right?
Allie graduated high school and peaced out.
Yeah.
She went to school in Miami. She lived in Dallas. She lived in Wichita Falls. She lives in Fort Worth now. Like, she's gone.
Okay.
She only comes to town to see me and her dad.
Okay.
That's about it. But yeah, she started The Light Blonde in Wichita Falls when her twins were babies, when Layla was a baby, because she was a teacher.
Okay.
And then had these twins and didn't want to go back to work. And so her husband was like, okay, well, cool, but
do something.
I married a woman who works. I didn't marry a stay-at-home mom. You need to generate some kind of income. And so she had toyed with opening a cheer gym or something but that was just going to take her out of the home.
Yeah.
So she was like, well, gosh, I might as well go back to teaching if I'm going to open a business that's going to take that much of my attention. So she started printing the God is Greater Than Your Highs and Lows tee in her garage on a homemade print and put it up for pre-order, and it just kind of took off.
Yeah.
And so then, she added in another collection with a few more designs, and then it started growing. And so then when I was pregnant with Lucy, she and I struck up a friendship, I think, when I was pregnant with Layla. So her twins were still little bitty. But yeah, we did not even really know each other in high school.
You didn't?
No.
Wow.
No, because she was a cheerleader. I never even went to school. She and Keely Summers now. Yeah. They were just...
thick as thieves.
I mean, thick as thieves, connected at the hip. Everybody called them Callie, Keely and Allie, Callie. They were a singular person. And it's not that they weren't friends with other people. It's just they were so friends with each other that they didn't need anybody else. They didn't visit with anybody else. We always talk. We still call them Callie.
Yeah.
And so then we struck up a friendship through Matt Moffitt.
Okay.
I've known him since high school, and
Yep,
he's
I
known her
remember him
since
from
high
high
school.
school.
And then somehow we
He
got
was
thrown.
ahead of me, though, right?
No, he is the same age as Allie, so he's a year younger
I
than you.
swore I thought he was older than me.
He's just taller than you.
He's just taller.
That's what it is. He's just taller than you. So Matt ended up putting us on a group message on BlackBerry Messenger.
Okay. Yeah. Remember
Do you remember
those
when
days?
that was a thing?
Yep.
Man, those are. I think I could go back to a BlackBerry.
I don't
Happily.
know. I pretty much love my iPhone, even though it's not in. Sorry, you got me on a hot topic.
Go ahead.
Even though it's not as revolutionary as they used to be, they're basically copying a lot of what other people are already doing.
How dare you say such a thing?
I know.
It's trailblazer.
The only thing I really love about iPhones and Apple products is the connectivity between them all, which for the most part.
Oh gosh, Tara Swain's been on me about that for ages.
AirDrop is like the best thing since the wheel.
The only way I airdrop things is if I'm in a group and we take a bomb selfie and everybody needs it and I can just drop it on everybody's phones.
I've airdropped so much in my life. Funny story, Leah Emerson and I were going to Moab, Utah, and I took a photo of their vehicle from my vehicle, and she needed it. So we just hung our hands out the window and airdropped at 70 miles an hour.
What a time to be
going
alive.
down the road. Kimmy and I will be in separate rooms in
Y'all
the
are
house,
abusing technology,
and
at
we
this
just
point.
airdrop back and forth things that we need. Like, can you take care of this? Airdrop, and boom.
No, the closest I get to that is texting Chance from the bathtub. Will you please tell those kids to shut up? Like that's the extent of our technology, and he won't get it until the next morning. Oh, you texted me last night at 8:00? Yeah, Chan, I did. Thanks for reading that. Now it's 6 a.m.
It's too late.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
But yeah, Matt put us on a BB Messenger thread, and I honestly think we were probably talking about like the Real Housewives of Orange County, which was called Behind the Gates then, and it just evolved. It just turned into a friendship. And so then when the business got to where like the admin side of the business was taking away from her creative side, she called me. I was in my office at Coke, and she just said, listen, I need help with emails about how does this fit? What is the sleeve circumference? You'd be amazed the questions that women will ask about a t-shirt like they've never worn a t-shirt before in their life. What is the length of the small compared to the large? I don't know. Probably an inch or two.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever worn a t-shirt before?
Well,
Are you aware of how they fit? This is not a prom dress.
Yeah.
We don't need exact measurements. And hey, if it doesn't fit, we'll exchange it for you.
There you go.
You know, it's not that big of a deal. So I was like, yeah, sure. Looking at it as a way to, rack up 10 hours or so a week, just supplement, just helping her out and maybe making a little extra change.
Yeah.
And then my job got eliminated from Coke when I was 8.5 months pregnant with Lucy, like 2 weeks before I had her.
Oh, no.
And so Allie, I call her and I'm crying about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And she was like, well, funny thing is, I've kind of been praying that you would have more time. Because
I sabotaged your job.
Now is but I mean, answer prayer.
Yeah, right.
Won't he do it? And so then I was able to come on full time with her, and it's been me and her against the world ever since. And
so I had started noticing you guys pop up. Y'all had done a couple videos, and I was at that point I was involved enough in the video world that I watched videos on Facebook, I watched other stuff, and I just remember thinking like, man, I really want the opportunity to do something with these girls. I loved y'all's message. I loved your product. My wife loves y'all's product. And so I kind of consistently for years watched y'all online, like wishing that there was this open door eventually.
Ooh, admiring from afar.
Right.
Little did you know.
Right. So wishing that there was this opportunity. And then Allie calls me up out of the blue, I think.
It was my doing.
It was all you.
We had been talking for ages, ever since the Too Pretty video. Which the Too Pretty to Act Ugly video was done. Lucy was like a newborn. So I wasn't there for any of that. And then, it just took off. And it put us on a whole other level. And it reached people. Because a lot of people will think, oh, Christian t-shirt company.
Right.
That's kind of annoying. They're everywhere. And how cliche, but we strive to be so different because anybody can put "y'all need Jesus" on a t-shirt and sell it all day long. But what we're about is the message, is about opening up a line of communication. Yeah. Like our God is Greater design, the very first one that we ever did. Of course, it's everywhere now, but that's one that people will stop you in the street and say, "What is that? What is that on your shirt?" And you can say, "Well, this is God is greater than your highs and lows." Yeah. And they'll say, "Oh." And it's like you see a little light up in their eyes, and it's like, "Oh, these are my people." And you never know. Even Not Today, Satan, or Trust in God But Lock Your Car. When you wear those, people will stop you in the street and be like, "You know what? In 1977, my Firebird got broken into, and I'm telling you, they took everything except for whatever was important, and that was God." And I'm like, See, your people are out there walking the street, and they don't know that you're one of them.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say is y'all have created like a little community of like brand warriors, and it's amazing just to see how much support and love you guys get, and I think it's because y'all have that heart that you're talking about right now going into the line. Like,
we are so thankful for our people who love us and for the people who get it. Yeah, the ones who get it. And of course, we still get really nasty comments on Instagram. Oh my God. Did you see the picture that we just posted of Rachel Hollis wearing the Not Today Satan with like a bomber jacket?
Oh,
and she's
yes.
doing the I love you sign language with both hands?
Yes.
We posted that. Got all the likes, all the comments. Everybody's saying this is amazing. She's using her platform for good. Because, she is a Christian, but she doesn't speak solely on Christianity. Yeah. She's more of like a life coach.
Yeah.
But for her to choose our t-shirt to wear on her body in front of all these women speaking, I mean, it was huge. It was so touching for us. We absolutely loved it. And then somebody commented and said, "Oh, really? She's throwing up the devil's horns." We were like,
"Oh my gosh.
What planet are you from?" Like, that is very obviously I love you in sign language. I don't know that it's worldly recognized. I'm not that up to date on sign language. I hope that somebody lets me know. But
yeah,
I feel like it is. But I mean, you're always going to have somebody who has something ugly to say, and it's not about you. It's about them.
And this is the part that I've hated about technology and social media, is that it's so easy to be negative behind a screen, not in front of someone's face. And I mean, we've talked about this. I'm a huge positivity person. Like, I want to be positive. I want to bring love and kindness to people. And it's just, there's too much hate out there from anyone to add more to it. So, like, in some cases, like, it's maybe this is one of them, but it's like, do your research before you say something mean. Like,
seriously.
Like, I'm sure out of all the comments y'all had on that post, if she'd read some of the comments, she'd have been able to gather that, oh, that's not the devil's horns, that's sign language. That's actually amazing. Before she even or I don't know if it's a she or he. I'm sorry.
It was a dude. Neither here nor there. I mean, still just a hateful soul. But it just, that meme that says, "Did you know that you can scroll past something you don't like?"
Yeah.
Like, are you aware of that?
Right.
Because it's very doable.
Like,
you can just keep scrolling.
Every single thing on this planet doesn't need your negative commentary.
Yeah.
Like,
and what
have you
does
helped?
That do?
What have you done?
So okay, you are up to date with social media. Are you seeing all of this?
It's just what I do for a living.
Yes.
But it's okay.
So you're seeing all of this with Joel Osteen bringing Kanye West in.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have thoughts?
Well, I mean, so I'm not against it.
Right?
I mean,
people are losing their minds.
So here's the thing is, okay, it's one of those things. So high school. We've talked about high school a lot. Through high school, I set an opinion of people. And since I've left high school, I've kept that opinion of that person. So when I see them now, it's like really hard for me to take that mindset of like, no, that dude was a jerk. Cass Haley.
Yeah.
It's a great example. I was with him the other night and we were talking about high school and talking about stuff, and he in high school, and he'll admit it to your face. He's like, "Dude, I was rough in high school." He's like, I was mean to people. He's like, the other night he said, I just want to apologize to you right now if I ever hurt your feelings in any way. I'm so sorry. He's the kindest soul now. Like, he just glows when you see him. He's just happy.
Does everything he can to spread joy.
Everything he can. All of his music is positive. And that's a prime example because prior to meeting him again as an adult, I always had that, like, dude, he was...
Like, if you ran into him at Walmart, you'd be like...
And I hadn't updated it, like, who he was. Yeah, I would have been like, I don't know.
See...
Turn down an aisle. Like, I don't want to talk to him. He's mean.
That was me. You know that show, My Name is Earl?
Yeah.
Where he's going back and righting all of his wrongs through life?
Yeah.
I always say that that's me. I was so horrible in high school and in middle school. I was so mean and nasty and negative. And I always say, like, now, it's my last mission to be like, if you knew me in high school, then you don't know me.
You don't know me.
I'm a different person. I mean, not a different... People can change, but you're still the same person. But I recognize that I was just so horrible and mean and nasty and didn't care about anything. Hell, I didn't even go to school.
So that's what I'm hoping is happening here. So everybody has got
Agreed.
this opinion of who Kanye was and what. I mean, granted, in his early years, he claimed to be a Christian and he even had some Christian lyrics in his songs and stuff like that. But then he went
changed his name to Yeezus.
Yeah.
I mean, he lost it for a little while.
He went way down, and that happens, man.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to climb back out.
And I can only imagine what fame would do. I mean, it accelerates all of that.
Exactly.
And I really hope that, like, this is...
If there was a camera following me around at all times and seeing me at my worst, oh, forget about it. I'd never show my face again.
And here's the bottom line. If anyone can do it, Jesus can.
Mm-hmm. And people can be mad at Joel all day long.
Yeah.
And say that, he's taking money and he's a false prophet. And to each their own. Maybe he is. But how many people has he brought to Jesus? How many? And look at Kanye. I've said, Wendy Williams calls him that madman. So I always call him that madman because he's kind of crazy. But now he's crazy for Jesus. And there are people who are listening to his music who would never step foot in a church unless their mother made them.
Right.
And who would not even let God cross their mind. And now they're going to listen to his music and think about the kids who listen to his music.
Sometimes you have to take money out of the picture. Like,
yes.
It's not about the money. Think about his influence. Think about his influence in his circles. Mm-hmm. Like,
did you see the video of him on the plane?
I did not.
Are you kidding me?
I'm sorry.
Okay, homework.
That's
your homework for today. You have to watch the video of him on the plane.
Just my homework, or is it everybody that's listening's homework?
Everyone who is listening to this.
Okay, so Kanye West video on
don't
plane.
Start watching it, until this is over.
Right.
Don't pause us.
Don't pause. I've had podcasts that are like, pause what you're doing right now, go do this, and then come back
Absolutely not.
No, don't pause.
Listen to every word that we have to say, and then go listen to it. But you got to think, he was on that plane, and he was singing, and then the flight attendants get in on it, and everybody and just know, everybody who got off of that plane got off with a smile on their face.
Joy.
And it's hard to be happy on a plane.
Oh, yeah.
It is so hard to be happy on an airplane.
Well, and I don't, again, take money out of the situation. If you're spreading joy, I'm about it. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Like,
if you're spreading joy and furthering his kingdom and doing what you feel led, go ahead. As long as it doesn't involve, killing people or whatever.
Whoa.
That's a whole different, that's a completely different calling.
Different kind of joy.
Like, if your religion tells you that you need to hate somebody,
no,
you're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong.
You
wrong
need to
religion.
revisit, reevaluate, move on.
I couldn't agree with all of that even more.
Yeah. So I'm here for it. I'm here for that madman being crazy for Jesus. And Joel opening up his house, because he didn't open it up other times.
Yeah.
So, it brought those two together. And their platforms are huge.
Yeah.
So use it for good.
Use it for joy.
Use it for good. And people were saying, if you bought tickets to this, you're crazy. They were free. But even if they weren't, take that money.
Take it.
And build Joel another pool house or whatever he needs. But just know that it was televised. I watched it on Facebook. Yeah. It was wonderful.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Has it ever been brought up for y'all to do like a single guys line?
Oh, we did a men's collection for a little while. Jason Scoggins was our model.
Oh,
I'll have to show you those photos.
I want one.
He absolutely killed it. But it's hard for us because we feel like all of our stuff is so unisex. Like, pray, hustle, repeat. You would wear that all day long.
I guess that's true. I guess it's harder for men to...
men don't shop for themselves is a big thing.
It's true.
Like, Kimmy would definitely go online and buy one of our tees for you.
Oh, probably.
For sure. But, I mean, men don't really shop for themselves. And our men's collection is up, but we haven't ever really talked about doing solely a men's line. But it would be fun to have, like, a guest designer.
Oh, I don't know.
That could be fun.
I don't know who could do that.
Oh, I don't know. Who would have the skills?
Any kind of skills of designing things.
Yeah, that could be really fun.
That would be really fun.
We're always trying to think of new things that we can do to keep it fun, because connecting with people is, what it's all about. It's not just about sales, and it's not just about money, and it's about how we connect and how we, people take things differently.
Yeah.
Like our God Made a Woman video that you did. That absolutely killed. Sometimes we'll go back. Like, sometimes when you're having a day and you just kind of need to cry.
Yeah.
Like you can feel it like in your sinuses and you just need a good cry. We'll go back and just read the comments because it's great, because people take different things and people's, they'll put their favorite quote in the comment, and it's something that I really didn't even hear the first few times. I've watched that video 30 times, but if somebody picks out a line that didn't necessarily strum hard when I was listening to it, I'll go back and be like, wow. Well, that was brilliant.
And we didn't get there. I was trying to get there earlier because we rabbit trailed a lot, but I love it when we do that.
Squirrel.
So I did end up getting to work with you guys. We made an amazing video, and there's a lot of things that I loved about the video. But y'all brought in different generations and moms and people in leadership roles and people in different kinds of roles. And so there was so much diversity there that, it does speak to a bunch of different women. And I think men, there were a handful of times, and I'm filming, I was like, dang, that was good. I got that right. It was recording, right?
Yes,
because that was. We can't remake that. That was good.
Yes.
And it spoke to me for sure. And it's again another. I'm not trying to brag. Like, it was an amazing video.
Oh well, you get to brag. I mean, you totally killed it.
Not solely because I made it, but it was an amazing video because of the people that were involved in it and the things that they said. And I even brought, which at that time I wasn't partnered up with Leah in my business, but I brought her in. I was like, before I showed you guys, I was like, I really want, like,
she was going to be there. Yeah, she was going to be there, and she couldn't. She was out of town, or something was going on.
And that's why I had to hire a second person. But I really wanted a female's editor, like video editor person, to look at it and help me kind of walk through it, because I am a man. And I see things like a man, but and I own that. But I also just wanted to provide the best video with the right heart, and I really wanted to convey exactly what you guys wanted out of that video. And I think we nailed it on the head.
Oh, totally killed it. I loved the comments from men who would say, wow, this really makes me appreciate my mom, or really makes me appreciate my wife or my daughters, or who, wherever they happen to be at life.
Right.
And it did. I mean, even... You think, I'm every woman and I understand everybody, but you don't. And there's so many people. I loved the generational.
Yes.
Like the Roses. Madeline and Amber and Mimi.
That part where they came in, well, we specifically made it. Sorry, I didn't mean to dive into this video, but we specifically made it to where, like, you didn't know You didn't know that they were related until the end.
The feedback that we were getting when people were like, wait a minute, this is the daughter-in-law, and this is the
talking about?
Blowing their minds. I mean, it was the best. And then, like...
And that was unscripted.
Oh,
that was all... And so just so
totally.
People know, like, we didn't, like, script that to happen. Yeah. It just happened.
We had to make them.
It.
We were standing there, and we looked at Amber, and she's over in the wings, tears rolling, and we were like, go give her a hug. Get in there. And I honestly didn't even know that you were still rolling at that point.
Yeah.
And so just to... catch that honest moment was just absolutely brilliant. I mean,
amazing.
It was perfect. And then
I got goosebumps right now. I'm sorry.
It was so good. And then the Slagles, like Morgan and Blair, and Morgan talking about women in the workplace, back in the 80s and the 90s, and stuff that I never even thought of. And then for her to talk about how different it is now, and it was just you don't think that there can be that much of a difference in one generation.
Yeah.
But there is. I mean, even if it's just 20 years time, things can change so much. And we always hope, of course, that it changes for the better. And in that case, it did, because she was talking about women in the workplace, boosting each other up, and opposed to back when she was in the workforce and how it was competition.
And what I loved was that I lost my thought.
But yes, the video, I mean, it absolutely killed. We wanted somebody to be able to connect. We wanted everybody to have somebody that they could connect with.
To. Yeah, it was amazing, and I remember my thought. Sorry, what a lot of people don't know also is that there was so much content. We could have made 3 videos. Oh my
gosh!
There was so much good things.
It was a day. It was a full day. Well,
it was a few days trying to get through all the footage, because I was like, oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. Oh man, that's so good too. And so then you had to take. Normally what happens in my editing process is you break down all these clips and you find the good things, and then you try to make those good things fit in a story. Well, when you have too many good things, it's really hard to make. It's like, I can't put all of these. I really want to. But this isn't an hour. I don't have an hour.
It would turn into a Netflix series.
Yeah, it would turn into a Netflix series. And that was what that video was there were so many good. We could have literally, and they could have all had 3 different stories.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that talked about social media and how that affects women today. And we could have made a whole episode not episode, but a whole video just on that topic alone.
So what Allie and I took from sitting down with you here at the church and going through editing, and when we had to squeeze parts out and hated it, and us being like, well, just take us out. Yeah. Take Allie out. Take me out. We can say what we have to say some other time.
Right.
These women that we got together, they need to be heard.
Right.
And so what we took from that was, we just have to do this more often.
Yeah.
We just have to. We obviously have so much to say. And these women had so much to say. And not even women. I mean, there are so many things that need to be said that haven't been said, because people just don't have necessarily the platform, or maybe just aren't in the right space to do it. But man, people agree with you, and people need to hear your point, and we just have to do more videos.
Well, and it's like that we were just talking before this podcast. I say this all the time. I have a podcast before I have podcasts, but we were saying right before this podcast is it's not every day that we get to hear those things talked about. And that's what I think about this podcast is, like, we don't have the luxury in today's day and age to sit down and tell this story.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this podcast. Well, that's equal to y'all's brand, and into that video, we just don't have the bandwidth to sit down and tell those stories and talk about those things like we should. And in a video like that, you're able to convey a lot of that in a short amount of time.
The God Made a Woman video was great also because it wasn't just a highlight reel.
Right.
It had a lot of crying. I mean, it had some ugly tears in it. It was emotion. And it was, like with social media, it is the highlight reel. And so you can sit down and think, oh, well, this is Broadway. He has 2 kids and a beautiful wife, and they live a beautiful life, and everything's perfect. And then you think, well, I know him.
Yeah.
I know everything about him. I see it on Facebook. I see it on Instagram. Yeah. But you don't, because we don't do the deep dives, because we feel like we already know people.
Yeah.
Off of very little.
Off of very little.
Yeah.
They feel like they know all of it. And it's,
You judge the cover of the book. And
you do.
Facebook is just another cover. It's not a deep dive.
And unfortunately, that's what social media has created in us. Because to be honest, not that I would ever lie, but to be honest, I've caught myself doing that. I see a post and I'm like, and I judge the cover, and I'm like, oh, and I say something in my head. I'm not running around town saying these.
You don't comment. Those are devil horns.
No, yeah, I would never comment on a post. I would never show up to a meeting with someone and be like, did you see Lauren's post today? OMG. I would never do that. But sometimes you look at a post and you take it out of context, or you just look at the picture and you don't read the text, or there's a plethora of things you could do, and then you're just like, ugh.
Did you see Tara Swain's post the other day. It was 3 images, like a collage, and it was a Christmas card. Gorgeous family, beautiful mom.
Yes, I saw the post.
2 kids,
yes,
good-looking dad. Everybody's dressed to the nines, and it was like what you see.
Yeah.
And then the behind the scenes, and that baby straight flipping that back and trying to, looks like catapult off of the couch, and the little girl turning into a noodle, just sliding down the dad's legs. And she was like, what you don't see. And I got so tickled at that because, it's the truth. But they still looked glam, even when they were trying to throw themselves off the couch.
So Tara and I love Tara to death. She's so talented and so amazing,
man.
and I love working with her because she's so organized.
She is a unicorn, and I don't know how she reels it in, but she does it gorgeously.
She kills it.
Like, how do you have an artistic brain and an administrative brain at the same time?
I don't know. She is a unicorn. That's a great.
She is.
We do this thing, and this is our second year doing it, where we do Santa Claus pictures and videos. And the behind the scenes, there should be, if I had a second shooter, there could be a whole like blooper reel of some of the behind the scenes.
I bet
things.
it looks a lot like in A Christmas Story when the dogs come in.
Yeah.
When they're trying to eat dinner, and the dogs like take the turkey and they yank the tablecloth off, and I bet that's what y'all Santa pics look like behind the scenes.
I guarantee you. And there's some kiddos that are scared of Santa.
Oh.
So,
I mean, sometimes those are the best photos, though.
They are. Well, and I like what you were saying earlier. Like, that's just real. Mm-hmm. That's just real. Like, I've got 3 kids.
Baby's crying in Santa's lap. Love it.
Yeah, I've got 3 kids. One's a baby right now, and he cries. He cries every day, you know?
Yeah.
And that's reality.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, one of the first pictures we took for him, it was for Paris Neighbors magazine. And literally, we got one decent shot, and the rest of them, one of them, I literally held him out, and he's screaming at the camera. And that's just reality. And you either own it or you hide it, I guess.
Mean, when y'all do the announcements for church, and when he was still a baby, I remember you'd be rushing through real quick and be sure and sign up to be on the chair team, and be sure if you want to be an usher or if you want to do the parking lots. And then Kimmy would be like, I got to go, the baby's crying, and just run off. And you would just finish it up. And I love that that was the final cut that you used.
It's real.
Because if you had just cut it and then made her come back, you wouldn't have had the same energy. She would have been put out and annoyed, because that's just how it goes. And it would have been like, let's hurry up and get this done. But instead, we could hear Finn crying.
Yes.
And it was funny.
I remember in one of them, you could just hear him kind of balking every now and then. You know, he wasn't crying, but he was like talking.
He was tuning up.
I remember this one very well. I think Kimmy was like rocking him in her foot out of shot.
Oh my gosh!
But he's still like balking. So and we had tried 2 or 3 times to get a take without him kind of cooing in the shot. But I finally was like, you know what, we said our stuff really good. So then I just had like a little baby emoji, the baby emoji, pop up with an arrow pointing down. It was like, man, like
just every time,
just in the amount of time it took him to go. I mean, it was really quick. I mean, it was like one frame.
Oh, but you know that those were the most loved.
Oh, man.
Because you can stand there and deliver a speech in a suit and tie all day long, and it's going to put people to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're standing there delivering a speech in a suit and tie, and you go to walk and you trip and fall on the podium, that's the one that's going to get the most views.
Yeah.
That's the one that's going to get the most comments and likes.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is, because that's what people want to see. They want to see the real. It's more relatable.
It is
what it is.
Thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
This was amazing.
It was so fun.
Was it as intimidating as you thought it was going to be?
No, not at all.
Awesome.
Very, very easy.
I strive for these to be like conversations. Mm-hmm. I think that's what we did today.
Yeah, agreed. It's easier. It's less intimidating than like a mom date.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Very, very. You're a good conversationalist.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it easier. Because if I try to think too hard about what I'm going to talk about, then I'd be a hot mess.
Oh, yeah. And I'm glad that we didn't have points that we needed to hit.
Yeah.
Because
you'd catch me going.
Forget about it.
And then when I'm umming, I'm like looking down at my next point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Agreed.
Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Hey, of course. And we are looking forward to working with you again.
Yes, that would be a blast. Mm-hmm. It'd be a blast.
Now that Allie's got that baby.
I know.
We'll have to turn him loose.
Turn him loose.
Yes, for sure.
Do a baby onesie.
We have a baby onesie.
I want a baby. Okay, I'm gonna go get a baby onesie. I got a baby.
Finn has the You don't even know that it's ours. Handle with prayer.
What?
That's us. I gave it to Kimmy.
I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. We have a baby onesie.
You do. You'll have to get a cute photo, which I'm sure he's outgrown it now because he's Sumo Baby now.
Yeah, they grow fast. You can't stop them. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I want to give one more shout out to Seapon a Gun. You guys are great. Thank you for sponsoring this podcast. Also, guys, we try to put out a new one every single Monday, so check in next week. I have a Facebook group that you can go and it'll follow and it'll tell you when who the next guest is and when it's coming out and all that stuff. It's also a great place if you have any questions or you have suggestions for a guest or you want to sponsor this podcast. I'm always down for sponsors. So go check it out there. And yeah, until next week. Bye.
Bye, everybody.